Geek Time, S2E14, 888, Stern 101.
I love that Rob gets it right. Geek Time, all caps, exclamation point. Well, John, here we go. We have a special guest on the phone lines. We thought he disappeared from the Geek Time universe, but apparently he has returned to this universe. Maybe he will return to the Fringe universe. Everybody, Josh Jackson.
Woo! Hello. Thanks for having me back. I am sorry for standing you guys up a couple weeks ago. That was a tooly move.
What happened not at all. Rosenbaum says you do that all the time. You make plans and then never follow through.
Lex Luthor's calling you a liar there, Josh.
When's this guy going to get the point? I've been avoiding him for like 15 years.
So he's
scoring the woman.
Yeah. So he's stalking you, Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah, that's it. I got the opportunity to leave the country, so I left the country, went on vacation, but I do apologize.
Good for you. Well, let me say it was a well-deserved vacation, and let me say that I was a little nervous going into the finale because we're responsible now for the show. We're like, we saved the show. We feel like if it goes in the wrong direction, it's sort of our fault, but you guys had an awesome finale. I just rewatched it again last night. I'm glad you called in because, when I first watched it, I was just kind of, honestly, you were coming on or thought you were coming on and I needed to get through it. So I didn't really sit and enjoy it. And I really sat and picked up so much more this time. And there's so many things going on in there and so many questions. And I can't wait for next season and where you are. And obviously you're not gone. And the scenes with Walter and Olivia, the future stuff was great.
Yeah, I mean, remember last time I was on, I was telling you guys, and actors always hype their own show, but I was like, no, this really is a big thing that we're doing. And so you got to love our writers. They just swing completely for the fences. And, I don't know what the payoff is going to be, but I am assuming that I'm going to be on the show next year, hopefully.
You've got to come back somehow. But, I mean, all this time, alternate universe, now the machine was sent back by Walter in the future, and he can't stop that future, but maybe you can, and you had this epiphany or something. It's so complex. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, it's complex, and it allows us to take the characters that we've spent the 3 years with, that we've lived that time with, and now take them all, if they want to, in a different direction. Without selling out what's been there for 3 years.
Right.
You can, if they play it out, that nobody recognizes Peter. I mean, I don't know how the thing's going to go, but I think it's kind of cool that we figure out a way to get Peter back in the fold, but nobody knows he's like the guardian angel now.
And it's sort of like what Kurtzman and Orsi and Damon Lindelof did with the Star Trek reboot. They took they put up a different timeline, and they were able to do it. It's plausible. It's like now it's a different timeline. Now this is a different universe. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going on with Broyle's eye? We can't wait to find that out.
Yeah, exactly. What's up with Detroit?
That looked cool. All I could focus on was that eye.
It's funny because at the end, so you've got Walter looking at Walter and Olivia looking at Olivia, great. And I'm like, all right, I'm processing. And then all of a sudden, they go to all the guys outside, and they're like, Peter's gone. The end. It's like, what?
Peter's gone. Not just gone. Peter had never existed in the first place. The end, roll credits.
Exactly. It's like, what? I rewound it. I was like, wait, he never existed. What's going on here? But again, that's what makes Fringe, and we're glad you're coming back. And you had said it would have worked on both levels. If you guys didn't come back, I guess they could have ended the series that way, or maybe they had something else cooking.
It would have been, I think they would have changed it just a little bit. I don't know that, because it would have been slightly depressing. You would have had to give a little bit more explanation, because the thing that I loved about it, if the show didn't come back, I think it's noble. He sacrificed himself for all the people that he loved, that he make sure he saw Olivia dead, that wasn't going to happen. He saw what happened to his father, that wasn't going to happen. So, he sacrificed himself so that they could have a different future. But now that we get to tell another story, in Fringe World, we've gone in a totally lateral direction, right? The storyline, the timeline that we were on is completely changed now.
Kablooey.
Yeah, exactly.
In technical terms, kablooey. But John does make a good point in that if that was the last episode of the series, I would have sort of felt satisfied. I wouldn't have been like, oh, geez, not like the event ended, and I was starting to dig that show, and this whole planetoid came into existence, and now I was like, well, what's going to happen now? It could have ended. I'm glad it didn't, but if it did.
Well, I think, that was, I think that was the guy's plan. When things were dicey for us, there was I think their plan was to have a story that could be a satisfying finish, or could launch us off in a new direction. So I think they did that. I think with just a little minor tweak at the end, you could have had that. I think you would have wanted to have the scene where they're all facing off slightly less heavy, if that was going to be the end of the show.
Right.
But as a launching point into season 4, it also works because now you get to basically redraw all those characters if you want to. I mean, you know, who knows what it is that they're going to do. But
go ahead. Sorry.
I think it was, for me, I'm impressed with the bravery of our writers, that they're willing to go and keep on swinging for the fences.
And we don't know what that room is. Is that room like a gateway now where the two universes are sort of crossed and now living in the same reality, or they're still two separate universes? Who knows?
It struck me sort of as an extension of the room with the typewriter in the back of the
the
that
typewriter
shop
that types itself,
where there was a little bit of a crossover there.
Yeah.
This like took that to the next level.
Yes.
Yeah, created. I mean, we talk about it very briefly at the end about creating like a physical bridge between the two worlds. But the thing is, you know, who knows how they're going to attack the time thing? Because you know, there's different versions of it. You guys are sci-fi fans. I'm a sci-fi fan. You can either do the one where like everything starts to slowly erase as he fades out of the timeline, or you can. I think in Fringeverse, it's more realistic that you do the infinite, Crisis on Infinite Universes.
Well, you did sort of disappear like Back to the Future in the photographs where you just kind of got fuzzy and then disappeared.
The effects budget sort of ran out towards the end of the year, so we had to go straight 1984.
Josh, how would you like to see it go? I mean, if you're the one writing it, what would you like to do?
Well, I mean, there's a part of me that sort of feels like I should end up bald-headed at the end of next year.
Like your friend Michael Rosenbaum.
Like my friend Michael Rosenbaum, exactly. I don't know. I mean, I think it would be kind of cool if the price that Peter has to pay, for me, just from the personal for the Peter character, there has to be a price for the sacrifice that he's making, right? That's what makes it noble. And if the price that he has to pay, maybe that's the story behind the Observers. Maybe each one of these guys has had to do something like this at some point in their timelines, and now they become, sort of beings out of time.
I like your version. I think
I think that would be kind of cool. But then I think there's also, I think it would be awesome to work Peter back in for a long time next season before they know who he is. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of fun to be had.
Oh, like you're you, but they don't know that you're you.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
would you know that you were you?
Well, that's the other thing, is that, the third rail is that Peter's sort of like born new into the world and has no clue about what's going on.
Yeah.
So we could do that. But
that's
sorry to interrupt again, but that's what I was, last time I was on, our show is like fun to talk about and sucks to talk about because, I want to tell you guys like, no, seriously, it's going to be really cool.
Well, whatever happens here, the sky's the limit. And I think we're in for a great season of Fringe next year. And I hope you're going to come back and talk to us. And really, you've got the hotline number. You can call us anytime. You're a geek. We're geeks. And you're a friend of the show. You've been on a few times now. We'd love to have you back as much as you like.
Excellent. I would love that.
And thanks for joining us. And maybe we'll see you at PaceyCon in San Diego. Are you doing that this year?
Well, at first I got to make sure that I'm actually on Fringe next year, and then I got to...
Okay, cool.
All right, let us know that you exist, Josh, okay?
Yeah.
You'll always exist in our world, Josh.
All right.
Excellent, thank you,
The great
man.
Josh Jackson, thank you, Josh. Also, thanks to Nicholas Meyer for calling in. Thanks to Callie Lewis, of course. And that's going to wrap up S2E14 of Geek Time. Good show, Ralphie.
Thank you. Good show, Johnny.
Thank you. And thank you for listening to us in your favorite place, Howard 101.